Today I'm going to show you how to make balls or little circles. Those are used for toys like these. And if you make more rounds, it'll be oblong. And you can use it for like arms and legs and the body of the toy, depending on how big you want it. And today I'm going to use this type of yarn, which is a little bit like a chenille, so it's like a plushie. You're going to need a yarn needle, scissors, and some stuffing. And then I'll show you a trick how to figure out which hook to use. So if you put the yarn next to the hook, you'll see like, okay, this hook is too small, which means this, if I use this, it's going to be too tight and it'd be very uncomfortable to get through. So that's not it. And then this, it would be too big. So it'll create some gaps, which you don't want because the stuffing will show. And then this, I think, is just right for it. So this will be my 4mm hook. We'll start with a magic ring. Remember, you're gonna chain one, that doesn't count, and then keep that tail out. You're gonna do 8 stitches. And you're gonna pull to tighten, that way it closes that little hole. And then you're gonna do a slip stitch in the first single crochet. You're going to chain one again. In the second round, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So if you're good at counting, especially in your head or just with your eyes, you'll know if you did it right, because it's very easy to drop a stitch or add a stitch, especially here. So you get to the tail end. We should have 16 stitches. You can go back and check. But this is your slip stitch at the first row, and this is your chain at the first row. We're not going into both. So skip those. You're going to slip stitch into the first. So the third round, we're going to do this. Chain one, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And this will be that pattern all the way through to the end of the round. And if you did it correctly, you're going to end up with 2 single crochet in the last stitch. There you go. And then again, skipping those 2. And it takes some time to get used to looking or finding those 2 little stitches so that you don't make an extra stitch. Okay, next round, I'm not going to increase anything. So we're just going 1 single crochet in each stitch. So if you are good at math or doing the math in your head, the first round was 8, second round is 16, so this will be 16 as well. Oh, actually no, I didn't say that right. Okay, the second round is 16, the next round is 24, because 3 times 8 is 24. I was never good at math. I hated math, actually. So there you go. So we're going to do about 3 rows of these. No increase. And you can see that it's starting to curve upward into a ball. So when we get here, the next row, we're trying to kind of make it smaller into a ball. So we're curving it. It's going to be a decrease row. So how do you decrease? I'll show you here. So that last row where we increase was 2 and 1, right? So we're going to pretty much do the opposite of that. So we're going to do 1 and then decrease in the next 2. And this is how you're going to do it. So you're going to work in the front loops. So this is the front, that's the back. We're only working the front loop like that. So you're going to pull, you're going to end up with 3. You're going to chain through all 3. Pull through all 3, sorry. 1, and then decrease. 1, decrease. 1, decrease. And the reason you're only using the front loops is so you can eliminate any holes or gaps. Because if you go through both, you end up having a little bit of a hole there. You don't want that. But I mean, it's perfectly fine if you don't mind it. Just looks a little neater. Oh, and I can tell right away that I made a mistake. I did 2 decreases. So let's take that out. I'm gonna fix that 1. Because like the other row where you increased, you end up at the end with 2 single crochets. This will end up with a decrease. So you're using up 2 stitches. Okay, so you're getting close. That's your ball. It's just coming into shape, right? Okay, next row, we're gonna decrease every 2 stitches. This gets a little trickier because it gets tighter at the end. So it may take some getting used to. This is probably the only time when it's okay to be a little tense, or your tension be a little bit tighter on the yarn side, because you don't want to grab too much yarn. Then it ends up being loose, and you don't want it to be loose. Okay. Now, I know the hole is a little small. I could have done it in the last round when you do the stuffing, but it takes a little bit of finesse. If you have a tool that can do the stuffing for you, that's great, but I just use my fingers. Fingers are tools, huh? And you don't want to stuff too much because it's going to be too tight, and then the stuffing will show through the little holes. But depending on how tight you want it, you know, if it's good enough, that's good enough. Okay, then we'll cut off a tail, pull it off, and then here's the weaving part. So if you look here, you see all the stitches, right? And you're only going to work on the outside, just the front loop. That's what it's called. So let's do that. So there's the front loop. You go in the front, and then you're going to go through the back. Front, back. Once you get to the end, you can pull. That closes very neatly, right? And here's the beauty of this, right? You can knot it, and then just sew it through, because you can hide this. And no one's going to see the tail, because you're going to get it off. And toss that, and there's your ball.